Hey everyone, so this video is going to be on Ritchie Allen, your favorite bloke from England, and how he's contradicting himself. He's obviously ignorant, and it's amazing how he never confronts people on these issues, even though sometimes he says he doesn't believe in them. And you'll see what I'm saying sooner rather than later. And one thing I just want to address real fast, this is going to be my only digression, this whole entire thing. Thank you for all the people who appreciated that video that I made about who or what is a Jew, because that's a long line of research that's taken me a little bit of a while to accumulate the knowledge in that subject, and I'm not a scholar or an academic or anything like that. It's not my life. Like, not that it matters if I'm a scholar or not, because I can be wrong or right, even if I'm not a scholar. Even if I am a scholar, I can be wrong. Actually, in fact, a lot of scholarship is wrong today because it's based on personal belief rather than the actual facts, ascertaining empirical data. And that's true. It's very true in almost anything. There's so many presuppositions that people have, you wouldn't even know that they have a presupposition until you investigate further into them. But anyways, that's going to be my one digression. Oh, one other thing I wanted to address too in that video. It's official. David Duke followers are cult members. They literally are cult members. They're cult members. Once you question anything their cult leader says, you automatically get attacked by their cult followers. That's a cult. If you weren't a cult, you would come on my video and say, "Oh man, thank you so much. I really appreciate this. You know, David Duke doesn't teach this much about Judaism. He doesn't go into the intricacies. All he talks about is how they're a race." And I disagree with you on that. I still think they're a race, but everything else that you've said has just been very beneficial to me. And in polemics, it'll be very interesting to see me throw out these statistics or these facts. But no. Just ignore all that because your cult leader told you that I'm wrong. And he didn't say specifically me, obviously, but he says people like me are wrong, so that's fine. You can believe whatever you want. But let me go into this. So, Ritchie Allen, the bloke. So, oh man, where to even start on this? So, he had Shlomo, I forget his last name, Shlomo something on there. He calls himself an Israeli, because he says that the Jews are only for people who believe in Judaism, and he says that there's no such thing as a Jewish race and stuff like that, which I kind of agree on, but what is an Israeli then? Then it must be a new concept of being an Israeli, because that's a biblical concept, right? You're being of the kingdom of Israel. So itself is self-contradicting to call yourself an Israeli and say that, oh, we created. No. An Israeli has been defined hundreds of years ago. You guys are redefining what an Israeli is and then adapting that to yourself and to your own ideology and beliefs. Do you understand what I'm saying there? Hopefully you do. But the main things I wanted to go into is how incredibly inconsistent, self-contradicting, and ignorant Ritchie Allen is. And obviously this individual is too, because let's be serious here. 99% of the people in the entire world can't even correctly articulate what happened in the Holocaust. They can't even articulate what Deborah Lipstadt or other historians, Raoul Hilberg, Richard Evans, any of these people, they cannot even articulate what they are contending. But they still believe it, and they go out and they persecute people who don't believe in it, who have studied it. Right there, that is a red flag. That's a giant red flag. Because I didn't get into this subject growing up hating Jews or anything like that. Oh yeah, that's another thing. If you really think I'm Jewish, that's ridiculous. Fine, you can think I'm whatever, you can think I'm a lizard for all you want. And I will show my face one day, but the truth of the matter is I'm 25 years old. I'm not going to put my life in jeopardy or my wife's life in jeopardy. Like happened to David Cole or Brendan O'Connell. Do you know who Brendan O'Connell is? Yeah, he didn't have that huge of a following either, and look what happened to him. And he was much older. He had much more life experience. So anyways, look at that. I just digressed again. I swear that'll be the last time. But anyways, so let me just say how I came about to this conclusion that I'm in. I came about to this conclusion by first, it was like 4 years ago, I would say, approximately. I was sitting there and me and my wife were talking and we're going, well, what are we going to do with our lives? Actually, I think it was more like 3 years ago. And I didn't really have any plans, to be honest. I was just going with the flow. I had a good paying job. I did it on my own. I didn't have to go to college to get it or anything like that because I'd worked in this type of environment for so long that experience does go a long way in employment. And trust me, it does. Obviously, certain positions you have to go to college for. You have to have a piece of paper to certify that you're competent enough for the position, which is a little bit ridiculous to me and should be to everybody. And one thing I talked to her about was like, I really loved history. When I was a child, I really, really loved history. I was always, my best subject was history. In fact, one of the funniest parts about it is when I was in high school, I would always sleep through my history class. Why? Because I knew everything. And even the teacher, I had the same teacher for actually 3 years, unbelievably. It maybe just a coincidence, maybe he asked for me, but he would always go up to my parents and say, he sleeps in class all the time, but somehow he still passes the test with flying colors, and somehow he knows this information. And my parents asked me, it's like, how do you know all this stuff? Because I love history and I already know all this stuff. You're just teaching me stuff I already know and learned. But that was the basic history. That's the history that they force on you. That's the history that they mandate you believe. In other words, that's not real history. Real history isn't definitive. It isn't. You can argue that some event didn't happen as long as you have proof, right? Why not? Why shouldn't you be able to do that? Isn't that what history is? Right? Engaging in polemics? I guess not. I guess everything in history is axiomatic. We just know everything that's happened in history. That's completely untrue. And I want to really just hasten this video, so I'm going to just basically go on to... So what happened was I studied Vietnam, and then I studied the Cold War, and eventually I got to World War II. And World War II, like I always say, is the biggest enigma ever to come into existence. It truly is. Once you study World War II and you're passionate like I was, you will not stop studying World War II until years afterwards. It did. It took me all the way up until probably less than a year ago, right around when I started creating this channel, to actually come to the realization of what I believe happened in World War II. I don't know definitively, like I said before, because nobody can. Except for the people who were there, and most of the time the people who were there, they have reasons to not tell the truth, or they maybe been brainwashed into thinking that something that they thought wasn't true, so then they completely eliminate that out of their train of thought, and their whole opinion changes on the subject. Like the German people who were told, oh yeah, they did exterminate all these Jews. All of a sudden it's going from pro-Hitler to completely anti-Hitler just by that alone. And I, like everyone else, thought the Holocaust was axiomatic, right? It's the most attested historical event of all time. Just false. Completely false. And in fact, if you want to see a good video on this, there's actually, on the Committee for the Open Debate of the Holocaust, I believe it is, there is a YouTube video of Gamar Rudolph breaking this down about how it's not the most attested historical event that we know. And what I did was I learned all this World War II history, and I assumed all that was true. And then one day, I literally told my wife this. I came home and I said, you know what? I hear there are people that question the Holocaust. I haven't really investigated their side, their contentions or anything. I'm going to research into it and see if there's anything there. And she goes, really? And I mean, there's a lot of evidence, like the typical response. And I said, I obviously 9/11 is a complete lie. The official conspiracy theory is just a complete joke. So I know for a fact that they've lied to us in the past, so why not go back and investigate? Why not go back with an open mind and see other people's contentions and compare, contrast, etc., what a consistent person would do, right? And when I did, my mind was just blown. Completely, I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't believe it. Because when I was studying World War II, I never got the sense that Hitler wanted to exterminate the Jews. I knew in his rhetoric he was very hostile towards Jewish people and the Jewish traditions. But I never got the idea of reading any of his speeches or anything like that he wanted to actually exterminate these people. But like I said, obviously my opinion changed. I actually read what the revisionists, they call themselves. I don't call myself a revisionist because I think it's a dumb term. You're not revising history, you're just accurately presenting history for what it is. And as far as I can see, they haven't been refuted yet. And there are a lot of people that call themselves revisionists that have been refuted, obviously. But there's a lot of arguments that are on the table that the other side doesn't even touch. Or they just ignore it completely. And if you want to study this, study both sides. And anyways, let me just go on to this because I don't, like I said, I want to really hasten this video. I don't like making too long videos. So what happened was Ritchie Allen was interviewing this guy, the Shlomo guy, and Ritchie goes on in this tangent about how he went to Dachau and how horrible and miserable it was. Why is it everybody who's ignorant on the topic of the Holocaust, why is it they always go to Dachau? Dachau has been proven to be a fraud by Jewish historians and by our side too. In fact, if you go to Dachau right now, there's a sign in one of the gas chambers, supposed gas chambers, that says this was never an actual gas chamber in operation. It says it right there on the sign. Did Ritchie Allen just walk past it or something? Did he have his head held up? Of course he saw it. So when he comes to that, unless he didn't actually go to Dachau and he's just lying. But the reason why Dachau was even thought to be an extermination camp was because it was all a propaganda tool. It was set up so a U.S. senator could come over there and basically document all that he saw, all the horrors of the Nazis, the evil Nazis, all the horrible things that they did. It was total propaganda, and they admit it now. There were no extermination camps in Germany proper. No extermination camps. So sorry, your whole fake idea of Buchenwald and Dachau being this extermination camps too. I guess there's 8 extermination camps now. See, they don't even know that. They don't even know that there's only 6. They can't even name them, but yet they're defending it. This is what I was saying in the video before, not yesterday. I think it was 2 days ago about Jewish people. How can you criticize something you don't even understand? You can't even correctly articulate it. To me, that is so unbelievable. That just defies human logic, defies consistency, anything to do with philosophy whatsoever, anything to do with actually trying to ascertain the truth. It contradicts all of that. But anyways, let's go on to the next one. So, and then Shlomo says that, I don't call people who are anti-Jewish anti-Semites. I mean, some of them may be, though. That's what he says. But I call these people Jewophobics, or I call it Jewphobia. Last time I checked, I'm not afraid of Jewish people. I'm not even afraid of them in the battlefield, or even if one of them tried to physically assault me. I'm not afraid of Jewish people. I'm not afraid of anybody. Anybody who identifies himself as white, black, I'm not afraid of somebody who identifies himself as a black person. Why would I be? Not afraid of anyone. This is the same tactic that the people on the left use And I'm not conservative or a rightist, so don't say any of that, but the people who call themselves the left with LGBT. Oh, you're afraid of these people. No, I'm not. Why would I be afraid of these people? And then Ritchie Allen decided to say, oh, well, what do you think about David Irving and those people who deny the Holocaust? And what's on your screen is basically a paraphrase because I wrote this down after I listened to it. I really don't want to go back through and listen to it all again, but I'm going to post a video so you guys can to see that I didn't take them out of context, and even this paraphrasing is an accurate representation of what they said. And he basically said it's terrible, it's horrible, and some anti-Semites believe that and some don't. Not everybody who denies the Holocaust is an anti-Semite. It's horrible. They don't even articulate what they believe. That's just like the atheists who say, oh, these dumb Christians out there who believe they talk to God. Do you really think that we actually think that God talks back to us? Unbelievable. Anyways, so let's go on. Ritchie says, oh, what should we do about Holocaust deniers then? That's literally what he says verbatim. What should we do about Holocaust deniers? I remember that specifically because that part just made me enraged. And he said, well, Shlomo said, oh, well, it's good that no academic historian claims the Holocaust didn't happen. As if you have to be an academic historian to know the truth of an event. As if academic historians don't lie or distort or have their own presuppositions, their own ideology to push. Really? Really? Can you not go to left? Just go to any of the Ivy League schools nowadays, Harvard, any of these. It's so politically correct, it's unbelievable. But yet it's a good thing that none of them believe or even question the Holocaust. That's great. It's good that we have all this propaganda that's sufficiently shut up the people and made them not dissent. That's so good. And the one thing that really made my head hurt and just... Because I'm a very pragmatic guy. And when I hear this, and then I know for a fact Nick Kollerstrom was on Ritchie Allen's show before this interview took place, it makes my head hurt even more. Because if you don't know who Nick Kollerstrom is, he's written books about the Holocaust and how almost all of it's propaganda. Sorry about that, everyone. So I'm just gonna end it there, or right there, because I had to do a few things at work. So, but yeah, I feel like I provided enough information for you guys. But I'm gonna include the links of the two videos of Nick Kollerstrom on Ritchie Allen, and then the Shlomo guy, and you can tell and you can see that Nick was on there before this guy was. So come on, it's unbelievable. But yeah, thank you guys for the support, and thank you guys for saying how much you appreciate me teaching you a few things about Judaism. I'm not a Jew. I'm sorry that all those people out there, I don't even know why would you even accuse me of being a Jew? Like, let's be serious here. I've told you multiple times, my grandfather speaks Farsi. He's from Iran. He was there during the 79 revolution. He talks about it all the time when we're around him, when we go visit him. He lives out in California, so I don't get to see him that much, unfortunately, but... And then my whole mom's side is literally from Slovakia. Before, I think it was Czechoslovakia at the time, because it was before Hitler actually liberated Slovakia, and it became Slovakia. But then after World War II, it disappeared again. Isn't that amazing? So, but yeah, thank you guys for all the support. Take it easy. See you guys soon.